We're going to need some pre-cooked white cornmeal that's from Venezuela, some salt, warm water, and olive oil. All right, to make the dough, we're going to start off with 2 cups of the cornmeal. There's 1. And 2. Then we're going to mix in a ½ teaspoon of salt. There we go. And then the recipe says that we need to make a little well, so a little hole in the cornmeal for the water to pour into. So I'm going to scoop the cornmeal to the side. And then slowly pour the water in. I'm going to start off with about a cup of water and mix it in. Then I'll add the next 1.5 cups of water and mix that in. Now this is looking to be a little bit too loose, so I'll add in some more flour. And just making sure that your water to cornmeal mixture is nice. There we go. Now it's starting to be more dough-like. And what I'm doing with my hand is just mixing it in, and if I feel any lumps, just squishing them. I don't feel any more little lumps of cornmeal that's unmixed. So now I'm going to take the dough and form it into little balls. To form a dough ball, I'm going to pick up just a small handful and roll it in my hands. And then place it on my cutting board. And then I'll repeat. Now I've got my skillet that is preheated on medium-high heat. I will add some olive oil to lubricate the pan and so that the arepas don't burn. And what I'm going to do is grab a dough ball and smush it down to a little disc. kind of going for if you've ever seen an English muffin or just a little flat dough ball that's cooked on both sides. Do 4 at a time. Now it's going to take about 10 minutes for one side to cook. So I'll come back to these once they start sizzling. So now that the one side is nice and cooked, I see that it's nice and golden brown and crispy. So I flip them over and it's time to wait again for the other side to cook. After a few minutes of time, the other side has cooked. I will move them over to this plate with paper towels in them so that the oil can be absorbed and we can be able to let them cool down and handle them to slice them and open them up. Now that all of them have cooked, we'll let them set aside so they can cool. Now it's time for the filling. I'll be using some shredded jackfruit, an onion, which I've already chopped, some minced garlic, 2 peppers from the garden, some beef broth, a bay leaf, and salt and pepper. First, I opened up the can of jackfruit and drained it in a strainer. Now I'm going to shred the jackfruit into nice little strips. And I'm using 2 forks to piece them apart. Kind of like if you've ever shredded chicken or pork before. The texture is just like that. It's time to add it to a pan with a tablespoon of oil, and we're going to cook it until it's brown on medium-high heat. Now that the jackfruit has browned, we're going to set it aside on a plate. And in the same pan, we're going to add our garlic and onion. So I'm just using about a tablespoon of garlic and then 1 small onion. While the onions and garlic are cooking, I'm going to cut up our garden peppers. So I just chop off the top and then make sure that all of the seeds are out of the bottom. And then I'm just going to finely chop it up. So there's one. And there's 2. Now I'm going to add the pepper and our broth, just 1.5 cups. And stir it together. Now I'm going to add the jackfruit back into the pan. I'll also add my bay leaf in as well. And then I'm going to have this be set to a boil. I'm going to add some salt and pepper to enhance the flavor. Finally, I have sliced the arepas bread in half. I'll add a little bit of the jackfruit and pepper filling. Then I will add some avocado on top. You cover the top piece over it and eat it just like a sandwich. And finally, we have some authentic Venezuelan arepas.